wrestling fans, this is Sal LaSardo reporting in from Orlando, Florida with this week's edition of Rough Cuts. This week's edition is a very special edition of Rough Cuts. I'm going to do a very special wrestling spotlight on a very intriguing, devious, charismatic, talented, dynamic. There are so many adjectives that I will use in this to describe this guy, but I'm going to just introduce him first. And the topic for this edition, Donovan, better known to you fans as Danhausen, the newest member of AEW. And if you have not seen this guy perform, you are in for a real treat when you do. You need to look this guy up. And I assure you, there's plenty of footage out there, and I'm going to get to some of that footage that I was able to do this video for you, because this guy is totally the future of AEW. So before I get to that, please be advised, these are my opinions only. They're not affiliated with Bill Apter or any wrestling promotion, including AEW, which is where now Danhausen is a part of. Donovan Danhausen, that's his full name. He started back in 2013 on the indie scene for several years before moving on to Ring of Honor in 2019. The guy is a very intriguing character, to say the least, from what I've seen on his interviews on YouTube, his wrestling. His wrestling, you haven't seen, is very off the wall, very indifferent, strange, dark, evil, but nice, in a way. Charismatic. His facial expressions with the face paint, that spooky, eerie feeling that comes about. He gets such a reaction. I mean, he got a louder reaction than Jon Moxley did. If you watched the recent AEW when he made his appearance on ringside, he got a bigger pop than Jon Moxley did. And he's known for his off-the-wall attire, the face paint, just very dark, kind of evil, but passionate, talented, devious, unusual. People say maybe paranormal, but not paranormal what we've seen in other promotions, because he makes it work. That it's just part of his character. And it makes it look so ingenious, so realistic, so breathtaking, that the crowd is just so in awe. And the matches I've watched of him on YouTube to do my research about him, the crowd is just absolutely mesmerized by this guy. And to hear the pop when he made the appearance on the Lights Out match with him, Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy, and then now recently when he was in Orange Cassidy ringside when Jon Moxley had his match, the crowd was as loud for him as they were for everybody else. And that's what he brings, this spooky, eerie, intense character that is far anything that we have seen done in professional wrestling, and as long as I can remember. Now, if you haven't seen, he hasn't physically wrestled yet in AEW, and it will happen. But if you go back and look at his matches, he teamed when he started way back with Ethan Page. He knows very well, who's in AEW. They won something called a Black Label Pro Wrestling Tag Team title, which was one of his first titles he ever won on the indie scene. And that basically just showed you exactly where this guy was headed as far as the direction. He did fight Orange Cassidy. Now people don't realize this. He fought Orange Cassidy on the indie scene back then to a no contest. So he's very familiar with Ethan Page, who happens to be one of his friends, Orange Cassidy. So he is familiar with a good deal part of the roster, because some of the roster in AEW currently came through Ring of Honor, where he was at from 2019 to 2021. He's known for bringing a jar to the ring, not with liquid, but some kind of confetti or popcorn or something. And when he gets his opponent in a compromising position, he'll pour it on them. It's kind of funny. And you have to watch it. It's just really funny, actually. As far as his wrestling, I've watched him deliver an RKO similar to what Randy does. But nobody does an RKO like Randy Orton. But he delivers a variation of it very successfully. He's very agile, so he can go off the ropes. He can fly over the top rope. He can do a lot of different things in the ring. Very, very agile for this gentleman. Very, very agile. So he can wrestle. Besides being a spooky character, per se, he is you can do a lot of things with him in the ring. He's a high flyer, and he also can wrestle technically as well. He has a knee-type finisher where he'll get the opponent in a compromising position, and he'll basically jam the opponent into the knee, and then the opponent will jump back and go 1, 2, 3. So he does have that as a finisher. I saw the variation of the RKO, but he didn't use it as a total finisher. The opponent actually kicked out, but it was a setup to what he was going to eventually use to end his matches. So he's very, ingenious in the ring, very creative in the ring. He does pull out different types of, dances and moves and stuff. They say he takes off the persona of like Pee Wee Herman in the ring at times. If you watch some of his matches, he'll do like the tequila dance or something. He will do different things in the ring when he gets his opponents in a position that he feels comfortable with, and then he'll just do something off the wall and bizarre. And then one minute they think he's a face, but then maybe another minute is like, I'm gonna do something heelish. And that's what it is. He's evil, but he's nice. He's a nice evil character. Just a middle of the road, unusual character is what he is. And this guy goes out there, and he's doing things in this day and age that we haven't seen in a long time. On 4/27/2021, he faced a guy versus Cabana Man for the New South Wrestling on the indie circuit. He lost that match. But if you watch that match, it was an incredible 15, 16-minute match where it truly showed the reason why Tony Khan had to sign this guy. He had to sign this guy. This guy, seriously, you watch this match in a losing effort. What he did in that match just blew my mind and said, wow, this guy is all elite. All the different things that he did throughout 16 minutes, you don't see that much today. You don't see the intensity, the selling, the expressions, the moves. He done all that. He does all that in the ring in every one of his matches. And this match really solidified why he should have gotten signed by AEW a while ago. Yeah, he got injured, which delayed the inevitable. But that match was something. And it's on YouTube, and you need to. I want to bring up another match. He's fought, tag matches, singles matches. He also fought intergender matches. A lot of times in the indie scene, you're going to see performers, mix it up with the opposite sex. And he fought, it's on YouTube, Ava Everett. Gotta watch this. Now, she's a heel. She's a heel. The crowd couldn't stand her. And everybody was waiting for him to, and he just took his time and paced him, doing his thing, like getting you like a hook, a line, and a sinker to reel you in before he just did his thing on her. And the crowd was so into it, especially when he got her on the pinfall. And to hear the emotion and the intensity, like waiting for him. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And when he poured the jar on her and he's doing the getting her over the top with the slams and finally to able to get that pinfall. I mean, he had you right where he wants you. And that's what makes Danhausen a very unique individual. He has a way of getting the crowd during a match right where he wants you. And so that he can do any number of things that he wants. Be very nice, be very evil, be very this, be that. He's got you right where you want you. He's got his audience. He's got your attention. And that's one of the things about doing this research on him and watching a number of his matches, is that he has a way to captivate an audience like anybody that we've ever seen, I'd say in the last maybe 10 or 15 years in the world of sports entertainment. I mean, seriously, watching his matches and going through the footage back from Ring of Honor and the indie scene, he has a way to captivate an audience unlike anybody I've seen. And a lot of people will agree with that. He was voted 158 out of 500 by PWI 2 years ago. That's got to be a lot higher by now. He's got to be in the top 25 by now. He had to move up considerably. There was an interview on him on YouTube about it, and you have to watch. He posts a lot of stuff every day on YouTube. And to see how he does this character every day and how it evolves, and how he evolves it and translates it onto television in his matches, it is truly something to see. It's truly extraordinary, very remarkable to say the least. And we're going to hear over the weeks and months and several years down the road that Danhausen is going to be a force to be reckoned with. He is a star in wrestling. He is going to be more than elite. He's going to be a world champion in AEW. Either he gets the tag belts with somebody or he's going to win a singles title. He is going to win titles. There is plenty of opportunity for him to either team up, maybe with Ethan Page, and maybe because they have a lot of chemistry together, or maybe he can go after Adam Cole, he can go after Hangman Page. There's so many possibilities. Darby Allin, Sammy Guerrero, Cody Rhodes. There's so many possibilities that he can go with. I also think that at some point, you can team him up with Malachi Black, Brody King. Maybe if you throw Bray Wyatt in, if Bray Wyatt ever gets signed, and you throw Danhausen in, could you imagine that foursome together? Black, King, Wyatt. It won't be known as Bray Wyatt, it'll be known as Wyndham or something. And Danhausen, those four people together, and a facet together. Could you imagine them together in a stable? As twisted and dark and strange. I mean, you couldn't get any more stranger than those four together. If that ever would happen, if we ever get Bray or Wyndham Rotunda to ever sign. But even the three of them, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Danhausen, could you imagine the three of them together? That would just be, hello. You know the crowd is going to eat it up. He's going to eat it up. Malachi Black even could be, the fans just know where he came from. And you put him and King together, those three, and maybe, like I said, you throw Bray in down the road, you are going to get some magic in that side, that squared circle. Tag gold, singles gold, whatever you want. You're going to get a lot out of it, I'm telling you. He is a star. He is a superstar. He is an elite, once-in-a-lifetime generational performer. And I encourage each and every one of you, look up his matches on YouTube because it's out there. Plenty of stuff, intergender stuff, tag matches, singles matches. The Cabana match, as I stated, Cabana Man match that took place again April 27, 2021 for New South Wrestling's on YouTube. Even in a losing effort, this was the reason why Tony Khan was going to sign him. Hands down, this to me is what solidified why this guy is all elite, all pro, all everything, because of his creative, ingenious way, as I've used so many times in this video, to captivate an audience unlike anybody we've seen in the last maybe 15 years or so. He is just very, very indifferent of a character that no one has ever seen. And I encourage you to continue to watch, be in awe, and be fascinated by this talented individual known as Danhausen. For this edition of Rough Cuts, this has been Sal LaSardo. Until next week, may all your matches be your main event. Next week, we'll be back with another edition. Have a good one.